Welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso, here with my boy
Soltero.
And I am back, my friend.
You're back.
And it's almost like I never left, bro.
Yeah.
I never left.
Welcome back home.
I was in a European escapade for 4 days, man, losing my mind out in Mallorca, Spain, having myself the time of my life alongside La Liga and ESPN. It's time I explain a little bit of what I was getting into, man, because
For real.
all over social media, all over Instagram, TikTok, I was posting photos, videos of me just out there in Spain, bro, just lingering around the halls and the sidewalks of Mallorca, and people were truly wondering, why the hell is Reynoso in Spain right now, man? And alongside La Liga, man, what the hell was going on?
You signed a 4-year contract.
I signed a contract, bro. I signed a contract. I got a team now. I needed a starting left back, and I am the go-to option, man. Nah, I wish, bro. I wish. No, to explain it clearly in detail, La Liga does this very special fan experience that they offer to content creators, to influencers, and people who just win the experience overall. You can get the opportunity to win it just through like contests or who knows how.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's different ways that you can become a part of this experience, but they offer this experience for, I believe, 18 out of 20 total teams in La Liga. There's 2 teams that don't offer it right now. Imagine being those teams.
Stingy
teams. Yeah,
man. Come on.
But for about 4 days, you get to go visit that team's stadium, that team's city, get to explore their culture, get to learn more about the players, sometimes even interview the players, and then catch yourself a game in that host team stadium. Damn. So it's this incredible experience that La Liga has. You know, they don't need to do this. They don't need to offer this up, but thankfully, because of our connections with ESPN Creator Network and being part of that inaugural class, we were linked to La Liga and to be able to join them on this Mallorca experience. And, bro, it was beautiful. It was one of the most it was one of the most amazing experiences I've had just personally in my life. And look, there's a lot that I could tell you. There's a lot that I could tell the people listening as well. But I have found a way to bring it all together, to have it all explained and all showcased in one single video, which will be the next vlog you see on our channel. I managed to put it all together into this fascinating little 20-minute video, and it's in that video that you will see just how stunning this experience truly was and how much La Liga managed to get us into in terms of activities, events, and fan experiences.
Damn.
As for the game itself, though, man, I went into it expecting a loss. I went into expecting maybe a tie at best.
Yeah.
Truly not thinking that we would get a real victory out there, given that it's just Real Madrid, man. It's Real Madrid. They're trying to find their form. They're trying to compete in the title race, and they're trying to just do classic Real Madrid things. But instead of seeing Mallorca just bend down and take the knee, I saw the La Liga title race be decided. And I saw it be decided in the San Juan Stadium with Real Madrid losing 1-0 to Mallorca and extending Barcelona's lead at the top to 8 points, a lead that Barcelona has never lost the league with once they achieved. 8 total points is a gap now. And in my opinion, the league is done, and I got to see the moment in which that was decided.
Yeah, bro. I actually caught the game because I knew you were there. So I was like, I gotta see this game, and it's full 90. And I low-key could feel y'all's presence. I was like, I know there's La Liga experience group in those stands, and I knew that you, Reynoso, were there live, bro.
Fuck yeah,
so
man.
I could like feel, I was almost as if I was part of Mallorca.
A little bit, yeah. It's a give and go, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's like a part of me in that stadium, and I could feel it. So I actually kind of got really hyped for the game, way more so than I would have if you weren't there.
Right.
Pretty crazy, honestly. But dude, that game honestly was like the Alamo. It was little Mallorca, little brother Mallorca against big brother Real Madrid. And Mallorca just set up 2 blocks of 5, and they said, Madrid, come at us. But what was crazy about Mallorca is they welcomed the pressure. Honestly, they didn't care that Madrid had 90% possession. They didn't care that they were trying to penetrate them. Honestly, Mallorca's defense, at least from what I saw from the television screen, dude, incredibly organized. And then after the game, I ended up finding out that like they just got like their 4th straight clean sheet at home. So going to the San Mois, apparently a really tough task as recently. And I could easily see why, man. That back line with Captain Rayo, Idrisu Baba just being like a sweeper defender, going everywhere, just making sure he would cut off any sort of Real Madrid chances, man. It was absolutely fantastic. And then Pablo Maffeo was enjoying himself defending against Vinicius. He was having fun. And I was like, dude, this team truly loves to defend. And the thing is, they know that they're not going to be able to really get a front foot offensively, especially against a team like Madrid, but it did not matter to them. They honestly welcomed that style of play, like Atletico defense, but like on steroids.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Very reminiscent of that, of the prime Atletico days, to be honest. But what's unfortunate, man, is I actually disagree a little bit with the limitations offensively, man. I think this team could be so good offensively if they had better decision makers, man. What I saw when I was at the pitch on that day, man, Kang-in Lee.
So fun on the break.
But terrible decisions in that specific game, man. He was literally Heung-min Son reincarnated when it came to speed, when it came to prowess on the ball, and potential for danger. So every time he was on it, you would just hear the crowd rise to their feet, the crowd getting wild, getting loud. But then every time he just send the ball a little too long, or he'd lose possession, or you just keep it for too much time. And I was just like, God damn it, Kang-in Lee. This is the type of game in which we need you most in. But regardless, that was almost like a bonus, whatever they managed to chalk up offensively, because their focus was defense, as you said. It was complete defensive stoutness, and it was honestly kind of dope how they, in a way, made Real Madrid embarrass themselves. They allowed themselves to be in so many set-piece opportunities, and the set pieces that Real Madrid had that game were absolutely atrocious, man. Atrocious. Going all the way down to a penalty shot where Marco Asensio had one of the weirdest run-ups in. Every single set piece, corner, free kick, whatever you want to call it, was executed terribly, bro. And so it was almost, like you said, like the Alamo, but Real Madrid just didn't show up. They just didn't show up, and it's truly concerning it going into this FIFA Club World Cup and trying to attain some silverware here. It's truly concerning with them having an 8-point gap against Barcelona as well. And overall, I did not see a team that at one point was the European champion of the world, bro, just a year ago.
That's so true, because overall, even though Madrid had a lot of the ball, I honestly could say Mallorca definitely deserved the win. Madrid maybe could have deserved the draw, but at the end of the day, then over the 90 minutes, Mallorca got the dub 1-0. And I remember in the build-up to the game, you texted me. You're like, bro, Marco Asensio is from Mallorca. I was like, what? Had no clue. I thought Asensio was like from Madrid. He grew up there. But no, he's from Palma, Mallorca. And when he grabbed the ball to take the penalty, I was like, no way. I was like, I bet he asked for it. He's like, look, guys, I'm in my hometown. Let me take this penalty. A great block, but not a great shot from Asensio. And you could just see he was like, shit, I fucked up. And he didn't end up completing that arc of returning home at all, man. Like, at all. Just to double down on the fact that Madrid are off right now.
They're off. But Mallorca, man, being led by Javier Aguirre, might be the best Mexican coach of all time, bro.
Low key, man.
What other coach has done this?
Yeah, you're right. Like what? Mid-table La Liga. Beating Real Madrid.
They're saved them from relegation last season. Oh shit! Right? They were all the way down in 16th place. I mean, what other Mexican coach has done something even remotely similar to that? I think that win might have cemented him as the greatest Mexican coach of all time when it comes to club performances. Outside of that, though, the crowd was pulsating, man. That was the word I came out with. Like, they were just one collective heartbeat, all of them, all the Mallorcans. And something I truly did like, though, just a comparison to what I experienced in the States versus what I experienced in Europe, was that I was in a suite. La Liga put us in a suite, so we were kind of overseeing the pitch and kind of just seeing all around. We could see everybody just right under us, and we could see everyone across. And I love that during the game, I would look over at the crowd to see what they were doing, and bro, not a single phone in sight. Not a single phone in sight. Not anyone checking it. Not anyone filming the game. Nothing, bro.
Damn.
Nothing. Just people truly engaged with what was happening on the pitch. And when you contrast, not just MLS, but any sport in America is usually combined with a lot of cell phone usage, bro. A lot. In Europe, there's still almost like a respect for what's happening on the field, which I really like to. I liked seeing that. I like seeing that everyone was so engaged with the match. Dope. Truly something beautiful. Yeah, and then another interesting side of it is also not many people wear the Mallorca jersey, or not many people in Europe wear the jersey of their teams. It's almost like it's like going to church for them. So they just get dressed in church clothes. It was a Sunday morning. Everyone had just a little jacket to stay warm, jeans, a dark shirt. Very few people actually had the Mallorca jersey on. But I've noticed this in past games that we've gone to. It's usually the tourists in Europe that wear the jerseys. And the rest are so accustomed to it. It's so routine to them that they just wear like, some casual wear, some respectable clothing. And that stood out to me, man. That stood out to me.
Okay, yeah.
But probably my biggest takeaway from what happened on the pitch, what I was seeing there amongst all these star-studded players for Real Madrid and, as you said, for Mallorca, the players that decided to play the game of their lives that day. One player that just truly stood out to me in terms of pure entertainment. This man was born and bred to be on a football pitch. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it doesn't matter. He was meant to perform on a football pitch week in, week out, and to rile people up or to excite people to an unimaginable extent. That man is Vinicius Jr., my friend. An absolute showman, bro. I saw Vini have one of the worst games I've seen him have in his career. And yet he was the most entertaining player on the pitch because I could not take my eyes off of him, bro. Any moment, even when he got dispossessed by Pablo Marseille multiple times, I was so intrigued to see what was his reaction going to be. Was he going to talk shit to Pablo Marseille? Was he going to get in the ear of other Mallorca players? And likewise, Mallorca players getting in the ear of Vinicius Jr. And at the same time, just that threat that he poses, how no matter how bad of a game he's having, if he just gets past you, he can draw a penalty like he did in that fucking game.
That's true.
Or he can have a one-on-one opportunity where he almost scored as well. It's crazy the role that Vini Jr. can play in a football match and how everyone, the whole stadium, is just screaming at him specifically. Bro, people hated him. It was so bad. I actually got a clip that you'll see in the vlog as well where in warm-ups, Real Madrid players are warming up, getting ready, taking shots on the keeper to just kind of get their rhythm going. And it was funny because they were shooting on the Mallorca fan side. And every time Vini touched the ball, and the moment that he would miss his shot or it would just go wide, the crowd would heckle to an unreal extent, man. Yeah. Just get loud. They just let him know we saw that miss. We saw that bad touch in warm-ups, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy the impact that Vini has had on just La Liga fans in general. How he's able to either have super fans for him or super...
just haters.
Or super haters against him as well. He's like a politician, bro. He's like a politician.
You can't take your eyes off him.
If you're on his side, you're all the way for him. And if you're against him, he's the worst human being on earth, man.
Damn.
And so I truly recommend if you have the chance to see Vini Jr. live, it doesn't matter if it's a friendly. It doesn't matter if it's a competitive match.
Yeah.
Any game, small team, big team, doesn't matter. Vini Jr. is absolutely worth your ticket, man.
Yeah, I didn't look into it, but the commentators during the game mentioned that Vinicius did something last season in Mallorca that pissed off the fans. I don't know what it was. I didn't look into it beyond that. But apparently he left a big mark last year that the Mallorca fans just could not forgive or forget it.
Yeah.
So they went at him in this last game. But I wonder what he did. But then again, is any of it justified? Because like Atletico just don't like him because he dances.
Right,
Is it true hate or did he actually do something bad? I wonder.
Yeah, I feel like with Vini, it's so easy to find a reason to not like him if you're trying to not like him. But it's just dope. I thought it was so dope because Mallorca's a team that doesn't have like traveling fans, like tourist fans, like foreign fans, like a Real Madrid has fans from all over the world, Barcelona as well, even an Atleti, even like Villarreal, for example. But Mallorca, man, all their fans are from Mallorca. All their fans are just people who support that single club, who are true to their team. And so to kind of see that be represented that day when I was in the stadium, to see all these people be so involved, so engaged, it felt tribal. It felt like the Alamo. It truly felt like a group of people who, in a way, were working alongside those players on the pitch to hold down the fort that Real Madrid was trying to infiltrate that day.
Yeah,
and when they weren't successful, man, it was a fucking party.
Oh my God.
It's so dope, man. Like a mid-table / small club in Spain, or I imagine even in England would be similar as well. It's crazy how the smaller teams in Europe kind of find a way to attain enjoyment and attain fulfillment, knowing that they won't ever be able to win like major trophies. Well, it's these matches that matter the most to them then. And it's these matches that just bring out the most like primal and fierce emotions overall.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing, man. At the end of the day, I felt blessed to have been part of Mallorca's specific experience because, you know, on the surface, I would have wanted like a Barcelona, Real Madrid, but there's something truly beautiful to these smaller clubs, man. There truly is.
Bro, wow. That was really well put. I brought a tear to my goddamn eye, man, because I actually could feel that in the TV in the sense that, like, it didn't matter the style of play that Mallorca was playing. It just mattered that they were competing. And the fans got behind that, and they were behind them for the entire 90 minutes. And yeah, they would maybe be a little frustrated that Liga maybe had a bad decision. But for the most part, they were happy and prideful that Mallorca was defending the way that they were. And it's such a contrast, man, because you immediately made me have like a triggering thought of when I go to Austin FC games or FC Dallas games where people just start groaning because a player doesn't make a forward pass. Like at that point, there's no knowledge of the game in the situation here in the States for the large majority of people. I'm not saying that you know, Americans don't know football, because they do. But you know, a large majority, when they go to a game like that, they just don't know it. Not like they do in Mallorca.
Right.
Not like they do in a small European club. It doesn't matter the finances in Europe. There's a true knowledge and appreciation for the game. That's insane.
And like an understanding of the context of the team.
Yes.
Like, I feel like a lot here in America, a lot of people struggle with knowing why a team sucks. Like they just go into the match thinking our team can win the game, so I expect them to be able to make that forward pass to be a constant threat. But over there, they have a good understanding of the context of world football and knowing the role that Mallorca plays in Spain. And so, like I said, they find different reasons to be appreciative of what they see, of the product that they see on the pitch overall. And at the end of the day, you don't see them groaning over a forward pass not being made. You see them being happy that they're even just in the game overall.
God, dude, I got to go to a Mallorca game, man.
It's actually really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice, man.
That is so dope.
You know they have American owners?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is it like do they own like another like NBA team or something?
The team that they own is the Phoenix Suns.
No
The Suns owners, Steve Nash has been to Mallorca, bro.
Really? This is a part of like
Phoenix?
Phoenix?
Like there's photos of him like in their fucking like facility. Like he like visited once. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. They have American owners, so they're actually like going through like a whole revamping right now of like taking their stadium from 19K to 25K within the next year.
That's big.
And then as you'll see in the vlog, some really dope luxury additions being made to like their VIP section, the presidential suites, the overall seating situation that they have.
Damn.
A lot of improvements. Mallorca could be on the move, man.
Okay,
really could be on the move, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You see the Seattle game against Al-Hilal?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I didn't see it because I was in
Spain,
you were.
But
I saw the
fucking
result.
Spain. Yeah.
I saw the result.
What's crazy is that I realized the Club World Cup's in Morocco, right?
Yep.
You're like right there
at
the moment.
Close.
You like if there was no water, you probably could have like driven there in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
You were like spatially so close to the stadiums in Morocco.
Yeah.
That's wild. Anyway, Ahly's got CONCACAF's number right now because they beat Monterrey in last year's edition and now beating Seattle in this year's edition. Pretty nuts, but I think it's kind of cool that it gives people, if they are aware of the tournament, it gives people a good sense of how good top tier African football is. Because when you do that direct comparison, it's just as good as Liga MX and the MLS, realistically. Yeah. Now, you know, if LAFC had been in the tournament, I think it could have been a lot different. But my ultimate thoughts on it, just because I do want to talk about it because, you know, it's MLS's first Club World Cup. But I can basically describe the game with this one sentence. It was preseason for Seattle, man. And I don't want to take away any credit from Al-Ahly because once the second half kicked in, they dominated the game and they got some good goals and finished off Seattle in that sense. So Al-Ahly completely deserved it to move on to the semifinals to eventually play Real Madrid. But for Seattle, man, after the first half, they actually looked tired. Like, they were second to every single ball. And I was just frustrated because, like, damn, like, even a Seattle mid-season, even if they weren't playing well, I think would have played better overall. Because 100% you could see that these Seattle players were just not match fit. Not 100%. So at the end of the day, I think Al-Ahly got the job done as they should have because they really are a really good football club. So well run, so organized, and they deserve the win. Again, I want to make that very clear here. But god damn it, like, it just sucks that the MLS, you know, have like a 4-month off season, and that's where Seattle are right now. They have yet to play an official MLS game this season. It's coming, but 100% Seattle's still in that preseason phase.
Al-Ahly, CONCACAF's daddy.
Yeah.
CONCACAF's daddy. It's got that confederation on its leash, man. The things they've been able to do. But I agree, man. They got a wacky Seattle team, and even last year's Monterrey team, I was not happy with being the representative of CONCACAF. So regardless, Al-Ahly stepped up and has taken care of business 2 years back-to-back when it comes to facing a CONCACAF team, and they wanted to now be able to play against Real Madrid in that semifinal. But following that match, we also had Al-Hilal face off against Flamengo. Yeah. And we have a reoccurring of a sea animal coming into play, man. The seas have opened up, and we once again have come eye to eye with another animal that's part of the animal kingdom of the ocean, man. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to put that shit up. That didn't make any sense. Let's
go.
Soltero the octopus is back. The octopus is back with yet another octopus prophecy, predicting that Flamengo would lose that match. Whether it was Al-Hilal or Wydad Casablanca, it was Al-Hilal, and Al-Hilal came out victorious.
Yeah, 100%. I will say, though, we'll never fully know what could have happened because Flamengo got a really early red card. And they essentially had to play like 40 minutes down a man. So from that point on, Al-Hilal looked like they were going to just see out the win, and that is exactly what they did. Would have been so curious to see 11v11 for the full 90, just to see if Al-Hilal could have really pulled it off. Because Flamengo didn't play bad, but I also didn't think they played great either. I thought Al-Hilal had a really good game plan, and it was just move the ball. Move the ball as quick as you can and just get the ball to Odion Igalo and Musa Marega and let them use their big bodies to kind of just bully the Flamengo defenders. And they did it really well, but what was crazy, man, is Al-Hilal's coach, Ramon Diaz. So Ramon Diaz plays with a back four and then has 3 midfielders and 3 forwards. Out of the 3 midfielders and 3 forwards, bro, he only played 1 actual central midfielder, and that was Gustavo Cuellar, the Colombian. The other central midfielders, bro, was Luciano Vieto, who's a forward, and Andre Carrillo, the Peruvian winger. But I truly mean this, man. Carrillo was a central midfielder during this game, completely just dominating in the center of the pitch, getting the ball, and honestly doing really well with his distribution. What's interesting about that move is that Carrillo has always been a traditional out-and-out winger his entire career. But what I've noticed recently, especially in his last games with Peru, he's lost that physicality. He's lost his pace, which makes sense, though, because he's getting up there in age. But what he hasn't lost, bro, his craftiness, you know, his ability on the ball, his desire to be a little filthy. And all of those attributes are perfect for a central midfield positional player. And so I could honestly see Carrillo transitioning late in his career to just being a midfielder. No longer trying to just be out wide and try to take players one-on-one, but just getting the ball and pass first rather than go at a player and dribble. And I like it, man. I really, really liked it because, you know, Carrillo's always been one of my favorite South American players just because he's so dirty on the ball. But now that he doesn't have that pace, he can still be as equally dirty, but just with a pass instead. Or just with ball retention, man, because he loves to have the ball at his feet. But now instead of, again, having that focal point of attack, his main purpose is to just get the ball to other youthful players. And I absolutely love that for Carrillo, man, because I low-key thought that he was just going to be done because he's lost his pace, bro, completely lost it. But Ramon Diaz might have found Carrillo's new position for the next 3-4 years. And low-key, if the Peruvian coach can see what Carrillo's doing with Al-Hilal positionally, Carrillo might have a good career to see out for Peru at the national team, man. So I'm really excited there. But it's just insane how offensive Al-Hilal went, going with Cuellar, and then basically the rest of them were some version of wingers or forwards. It was absolutely ridiculous because Mohamed Cano had a red card, so he wasn't able to play in that game either. But it worked. Just the fluidity of it all. Salem Aldosari, who we saw feature in the World Cup, scoring a banger against Argentina, had another really good game, really coming into his own. His stock just keeps rising as far as Saudi Arabian internationals are concerned. And Al-Hilal got a good dub, man. They got a really, really good dub. Flamengo just got a little unlucky, I'll say. I don't think there was any controversy in the penalties, just to put that out there. They were a little soft, maybe, but they were definitely callable. So at the end of the day, Al-Hilal get the dub, man, and they're off to a Club World Cup final.
They're off to a final, man. And that's, yeah, I do think the factor of luck or maybe the red card came into play. But at the same time, Al-Hilal was missing some of their players. Al-Hilal reaching the final, which is big because we mentioned how in the past, Al-Hilal has fallen a little short in the Club World Cup. Yeah. But now, bro, 2 really gritty results, man. That's against Wydad Casablanca that went down to the death and ultimately saw them win in a stadium full of fans of the opposing team. Yeah. And then against a top CONMEBOL side in Flamengo that even they got close to it at the very end, making it 3-2 and kind of forcing them to just see the game out. Yeah. Now they made it to a final against a Real Madrid team or against whoever it is to face off and see what the fuck happens there. But when it comes to Flamengo, how do you see this loss in comparison to how people are viewing the Seattle loss or how they viewed a Mexico CONCACAF loss last year? Is this a bad look for CONMEBOL, or can this be chalked off with just a one-time losing effort?
I was thinking about that because their coach Vitor Pereira has only been in the job for like under 40 days. So I was wondering, are the boards going to look at this result and be like, Pereira's not our coach, and just sack him as soon as they can? Because, I mean, they were expecting to go to the final 100%. It's Flamengo. Anything other than a final appearance in this small tournament is a failure. Let's just be completely honest. But I thought about it, and if you are fair here, there's just a little bit of luck involved. And I think they were very unlucky in this game to just get such an early red card. Again, I think both penalties were fair, but both yellow cards just happened to go to Gerson, and he just happened to be the one to get sent off. Whereas it could have just been one guy getting a yellow and another defender getting a yellow. And who knows at that point? Maybe it goes to another penalty shootout. So I don't think this loss, if you look at it truly objectively, is as bad as it looks. Compared to the Seattle one, I think that's tough to compare just because Seattle is in preseason, as I said before. It's so hard to gauge that match when Al-Ahly is literally in the middle of their season. But definitely a failure for Flamengo. I'm not going to let them off the hook on that. But I don't know. I mean, I said going to this tournament that this year's Flamengo is just... they're not the same. They're not the same team that won it 3-4 years ago in 2019. And for some reason, a lot of people said that they're even better than in 2019. And it pissed me off too because people were saying that Bruno Henrique was nowhere even close to the best South American player that year. Go back and watch the fucking Copa Liga. Pieces of shit, man. He was incredible that year. I'm not saying he's the best South American president of all time. I'm saying that specific year, his run with Flamengo was incredible. And you take away a player like that in that type of form, I think Flamengo are weaker. But beyond that, too, Flamengo, I think, just have an interesting squad because it's a lot of old faces. Everton, Ribeiro. You still have Gabigol. You have new players like Pedro who got a good goal in that game. But there's not enough new faces. They're still relying on players like Gerson, David Luiz. And then beyond that, they brought in some new players like Felipe Luis, Arturo Vidal. They don't even play. Yeah. They don't even play. And that's weird because, like, I kind of put Vidal in that category of like Luis Suarez, for example. And even though Suarez is completely in the latter stages of his career, he expects to play at whatever club he ends up at right now with Grêmio in the Brazilian league. Whereas Vidal, I thought the same thing. I thought he was going to Flamengo so he could start every game and dominate in the Brazilian league and win Copa Libertadores. Now, he technically won the Copa Lib, but wasn't in the starting lineup in that final. So I think this is weird, for a weird end to an illustrious career for the Chilean midfielder, man. Honestly, a strange ending. And then beyond that, Flamengo have Everton, the winger. Not Everton Ribeiro, but Cebolinha. He was like the 2019 Copa America MVP. Went to Benfica, and it just didn't work out. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Didn't work out. Comes back to Flamengo and doesn't even play. So I don't know. I feel like Flamengo have a good, solid team, but I think they just have a lot of wrong pieces. So, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it's enough to dominate in South America, and that kind of frustrates me.
No, yeah. But at the same time, I'm more frustrated by the Americas in general, bro. CONMEBOL and CONCACAF, view whichever loss you want. However, we failed, bro. Yeah. We failed badly, and Africa and Asia took a step forward, just similarly to the World Cup outside of Argentina.
Right.
Yeah, basically, if Argentina didn't exist, man, the Americas would be in a dark age right now, club and international level-wise, man, because not a single win at the Club World Cup. And I know it's only 2 games, but, bro, Al-Hilal beat Seattle Sounders. They beat them. They beat them. And then likewise, Al-Hilal dropped 3 goals, regardless if it's a red card or not, or whatever happened. 3 goals on CONMEBOL's best, Flamengo, man. So whatever's happening over there is really, really good. They're seeing a lot of good progress. They're seeing a lot of growth, which is very good for them. And if anything, it's just a sign of the playing field being more leveled now outside of European teams. Yeah. It's a lot closer now. And even internationally as well, man. They've kind of caught up to us, and maybe we've dropped down a little bit in terms of the scope of the Americas in general. So in a way, it's kind of fitting that the Americas have decided to create a tournament to kind of start forming a partnership where we can work alongside each other, because maybe this is a federation's way of saying, hey, they're catching up to us. We got to start doing something about this. And what better representation of that than complete failure at the Club World Cup? But you mentioned a player here just a second ago, Arturo Vidal, who's having a weird ending to his career. And you really made a point of highlighting that, which I hadn't thought about. But yeah, Vidal is having the most contrasting end to career that I would have thought Vidal specifically would have. Because for the longest time, his work ethic, his physicality, very willing to just give his body up for the game and for the ball, I thought that would translate to older age. Yeah. Even if he lost it a little bit, I thought just that leadership that he has would always be a part of him that would stay with him and would earn him at the very least a starting position on any team that he chooses to go to. So you got me thinking, because there's another Chilean who's going through an interesting career arc, which is Alexis Sanchez, who's over at Marseille and has been plying his trade there now for a while. And for the most part, I chose to ignore him at first, because ever since Alexis left Arsenal, I just felt that he kind of lost it. He had that weird stand at Man United that I was hoping would work out, didn't. And then after that, went to Inter, had somewhat of a good time there, but now finds himself in the French league in the latter stages of his career. And so I sort of wrote him off at the beginning of the season, just thinking, I don't know if he can do what prime Alexis Sanchez could do in the French league. And instead, I turned an eye to RC Lens, man. Right? I put my hopes and dreams into that team, thinking that they'd be able to achieve something formidable. And they still might if they get a European spot. But right next to them, and honestly, a team that jumped them in the standings in the French league, is Marseille. Yeah. And I just can't ignore them anymore, because today they defeated PSG in the round of 16 of the Coupe de France. And Alexis Sanchez had himself a really good match in this game as well. And they are now going into the quarterfinals of this tournament with a chance to win the title and kind of gain a little bit of momentum. And so if there's a time to talk about Marseille, it's now. Yeah. And if there's a player that we need to highlight, it's Alexis Sanchez, because somehow, some way, he's found a way to become relevant yet again, but now in the French footballing landscape.
Wow.
Shout out Alexis Sanchez, man. He's having a really good season. Not super incredible, like over the top, but he's having a very good veteran approach type of season. And it's good to see, because when you contrast that to what's happening to Arturo Vidal, man, it makes me happy to see Alexis Sanchez having something good happening for him.
Wow, bro. I had such a similar realization maybe a week ago, seeing Marseille play in the league, not the Coupe de France that happened today, seeing them play in the league, and it was Alexis Sanchez who was driving their offense at this veteran stage in his career. And I sat down and just watched it all unfold, and them to see them get the dub. Also, Unai made his debut.
Oh yeah,
Moroccan. He's there now, and he actually got a dirty goal. Anyway, I saw Sanchez just operate. He's a little less efficient now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the pace anymore. His physicality is definitely gone, but he's working out there. He's getting his touches in. Now, it's a little sloppy at times, but the other times it's not sloppy. It's working. And that's why he's starting every game for Marseille, still involved offensively, and the coach has full trust in him to just operate this team's offense. And I absolutely love it. But I had a crazy realization, because I was like, wow, I wrote off Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
I wrote him off. I didn't even give him a fucking chance because I put Sanchez unknowingly. I put him in the same class as Luis Suarez, Kun Agüero, Edinson Cavani, Arturo Vidal, that Radamel Falcao, those core South American players that were so good between 2010 and 2015.
That's a hell of a crop of players you just named.
Yeah, yeah.
God damn.
And all of them, except for Alexis Sanchez, are either not even playing anymore, or their careers just, outside of Europe, realistically. Yeah. But as you just so perfectly put, Alexis Sanchez is a core piece to Marseille, who are right behind PSG in the league table and just knocked them out, going for the Coupe de France title. Insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, flowers to Alexis Sanchez, because he's doing the impossible right now, and I apologize because I completely didn't even consider him as a good veteran threat.
Yeah, and it also, I think the state of the international team also came into play there. That Chile was also just falling off.
I gave up on Chile.
Yeah, bro.
That's so true.
Yeah. And I think that was part of it, man. I think that was.
Yeah, you're right.
Alexis Sanchez in his prime was so enjoyable. He
was so good.
So enjoyable. When he was at Arsenal, I loved how he played. He had that touch of magic to him. And honestly, a little bit of like an anomaly in the sense of like, I'd never seen a Chilean player be that good. Yeah. Never. I didn't know that they were capable of that at that point.
Yeah.
And he's part of that. He's spearheading that Chilean golden generation, always being the best player of that squad. His ability to penetrate, to finish was incredible at Arsenal. Yeah. But also have the IQ to just slip a ball through if needed. He had like a couple or maybe like 3 seasons where he was putting up numbers in the Premier League, bro. I'm talking like leading the league in goals and assists combined in back-to-back years. He was incredible at his peak, but his drop-off was pretty harsh in terms of like the statistical contrast that existed for him, because that Man United move just did not work out. Goes to Italy, and it was during a weird time in Italy as well as for Inter, where he was just kind of getting lost in that Italian sauce.
Yeah, man. No, honestly.
And then he found a way over to Marseille, and like you said, has found a way to kind of rejuvenate his career. Yeah. And I hope that something can come out of it this season. Like if he can just end his Marseille stint with even just one Coupe de France, man, that would mean so much to have that victory over a PSG team that had Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, and all these crazy names. Yeah. It'd be an incredible achievement for him. So in a way, I'm going to be rooting for Marseille to see them be able to do that. But likewise, RC Lens is still in the Coupe de France.
Yeah. and what, they're like, 6 points off of PSG?
Yeah, no, they're tied in points. It's goal differential now.
Okay, is that what it is? Okay, yeah. So like 5-6 points differential?
I think it's 6,
Okay, so it's still kind of there. For Lens, it's still kind of there. They're maybe losing a little bit of juice, but it's still there. So let's just see what happens.
I'm starting to think just European spot, man.
Okay.
I think I'm there now.
Okay, Champions League.
I'm not thinking. I'm thinking. Yeah,
Champions League.
They could get Champions League.
That'd actually be pretty big.
The race between Marseille and RC Lens could be actually really fun now if you just look at it in that perspective.
Okay.
So join me.
Yeah, I know that sounds a lot of fun. Like if I say second place is like a win for Lens, then I'll take that.
Yeah. And on that same topic of teams that are kind of surprising, man. let's go to La Liga real quick.
Mm.
Real quick, I want to take you there with me. I did a little talk about them early in the season because they opened their season playing against Barcelona, I believe, and they tied them.
Vallecano, right?
Vallecano is in a European spot right now, bro.
What are they? Sixth? Fifth,
bro. Fifth. But like deservingly so, man. Yeah. Deservingly so.
They had a good season last year. I remember specifically.
Where did they finish last year?
It was like mid-table though.
Okay.
So that's why going into this season, I was like, they're probably just gonna have that same disease that plagues a lot of La Liga teams in the sense that they have such good spells throughout a season, but just cannot maintain consistency over 38 games.
For sure.
And I never blame a team for that, especially when you have the budget of Rayo Vallecano, bro. They make pennies.
Yeah.
That club makes pennies, bro. But and I remember seeing, I didn't know they were in fifth, but I thought they were like in seventh or something like that. And to me, that was impressive. The fact that they're in fifth after coming off a good season last year, that is impressive because that tells me that they've maintained their consistency and have improved as well.
Yeah, no, and the play of Isi Palazón, man.
Oh, yeah.
Bro,
I love him, bro.
He is tearing up La Liga, but in a very unorthodox way because I wasn't aware of him until the start of this season.
Yeah.
And from the get-go, when I saw Vallecano play, I just assumed that he was already a La Liga like underrated star in the way that like Iago Aspas is, you know, that puts up insane double-digit scoring every year, but isn't really talked about in the scope of European football in general. Yeah. Just you know, a La Liga vagabond in that sense. But he wasn't that, man. He joined Vallecano just 2 years ago from a club called Ponferradina, which I believe was in the third division of Spain. He spent his first 6 years playing in the lower divisions of Spain.
Wow.
And he's already 28 years old. And in this season, he's putting up 5 goals and 4 assists, so 9 total goal and assist contributions on a Rayo Vallecano team, man. That's crazy. But what gets me is that, you know, obviously I can't watch every Vallecano game, so I'll check on their highlights. Every single highlight reel I watched from Vallecano, he is somehow involved in their offensive duties. Yeah. He's somehow involved in just being creative for them, being that threat. And it's a player that I've completely fallen in love with because he's got that bald ass head, man.
He's so bald.
So bald.
But so silky.
So bald. Like a silky Michael Bradley, honestly. Okay. It reminds me a little bit of that. Yeah. With that offensive threat. Very smart, very dangerous, can shoot it from long, can shoot it from close in. He's got it all, honestly, man. And he's playing with like this ferocity, like he has a point to prove. And he's the type of player where if he goes down at some point, Vallecano's going down with him. Like he is that important and that integral to the team's success. But overall, I think he's a great representative for that team and for that club. And to have them in 5th place right now, although I know it's close between like 5th all the way down to 10th. I mean, Mallorca could win back-to-back games and they could
be there. Yeah.
I know it's very close, but just the fact that they reached that point might be the highlight of their season so far. The fact that they've gotten to a European spot. And if Vallecano can actually be playing in a conference league game next year, that'd be ridiculous, man. Yeah. Ridiculous. It would be an awesome story to see.
So after I watched the stalemate of Al-Ahly against Seattle Sounders, because I watched it on tape, you know, crazy Friday, Saturday nights, wake up a little late, so, you know, I can't catch the games live. Can't catch them live. But as soon as I ended that game, I turned on Manchester City against Tottenham.
Oh.
First off, the contrast in quality, scary, man. It was nuts. Because, you know, again, Seattle's a good team, or actually they're an okay team in the MLS right now. A lot of these actually a really good team in Africa, but it ended up being a really big stalemate. It was 0-0 for the longest time, and there were honestly 0 chance creations for like over an hour. I then witnessed one of the most like precise, entertaining end-to-end games of football that I could have watched after a game like Al-Ahly Seattle. Manchester City Tottenham just proved to me that the Premier League right now, and I feel like we keep saying this.
We say it all the time.
We say it all the time, but the Premier League is just an insane level of entertainment as far as the sport of football is concerned. Yeah. Dude, oh my God. And it was crazy. Just having that immediate contrast, because I usually don't do that. Usually I like maybe take a break in between games. But another thing is, when I do watch a game, I don't watch the highlights. I watch the full 90. So I had a full 90 of Club World Cup. Then I had an immediate full 90 of top quality Premier League football. Dude, it almost was like I was ODing. Like, it was ridiculous, man. I, like, got high off of the performance that Manchester City and Tottenham were giving me.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man. The game itself was just absolutely ridiculous. Harry Kane ended up breaking a Tottenham record, scoring 200 goals in the Premier League just for Tottenham. Ridiculous. I think he's now still in second place above Wayne Rooney and behind Alan Shearer as far as just Premier League goal tally is concerned. But my God, just what an incredible game. And Pep Guardiola loses yet another game in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Dude, that match.
5 in a row.
5 in a row?
At Tottenham. He's lost 5 in a row. It's the only team he has not beaten in the Premier League on the road in that specific stadium since they moved there. Yeah. And every single one of those 5 losses have been clean sheets for Tottenham.
What?
They haven't scored.
Bro, I didn't know that.
I know, it was ridiculous. And as I was watching the game, it became so apparent because, dude, it's Manchester City's kryptonite. They had a bad game. They had a really bad game. And Tottenham looks so good. If Tottenham...
I hate that.
I hate it. I hate
that.
If Tottenham could capture that performance in a bottle and just look at it, analyze it, and use it every week, they'd win the league.
Damn it,
they'd win the league.
God damn it. They'd have a couple by now, honestly.
Oh, yeah, bro.
They'd have that for years.
They'd have a couple by now. But they can only do it at home against Manchester City.
That pisses me off for some
crazy.
reason, man. I hate that.
Dude, it truly was such an electric game of football because obviously Manchester City love the ball. They're ball whores. They need that ball at all times. Yeah. It's what they have to do. It's what Pep Guardiola asks them to do. But every single time Tottenham would get the ball back, the transition was electric. Whether it's Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, Kulusevski, hell, even Rodrigo Betancourt. Anytime that they got the ball, they immediately went forward, and it was as direct as possible. Couple that with the fact that you have the entire stadium behind you. Dude, Tottenham's transition was so deadly, man. Truly, it's just such a spectacle to watch because it was just 2 completely different styles, but no style was the right one, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it ended up being a 1-0 win for Tottenham, right? Manchester City were still in the game for the majority of the 90, but they just couldn't break them. And at the end of the day, Tottenham just got their 1 goal through Harry Kane, obviously one of the greatest in the Premier League right now. And it just proved that, like, Tottenham's transition is so deadly. But that's the thing is, how do you translate that to, you know, games against Arsenal, games against West Ham, Everton, those lower type of tier teams or mid-table teams as well? I think that's where Tottenham start to lose the point is they don't know how to, like, translate that energy, I think. Whereas, like, I think they do it really well when their opponent has the ball the majority of the time. That way they can transition and kill you on the break. Because when they're playing an inferior team, Tottenham will have majority of the ball. And at that point, that's where Tottenham struggle. I really got to see the strengths and weaknesses of both sides, Manchester City and Tottenham, in this game. Overall, though, the product was so entertaining.
The goal came from, it wasn't from a transition, though. It was from Rodri losing the ball in the backfield.
And that's what's funny is, so they played like a week and a half ago, right? They had just played each other in the league.
Yeah, the comeback.
And one of the mistakes where Manchester City conceded was Ederson giving the ball away. And it was the same goddamn thing. Really poor decision because I don't think Rodri ended up seeing the Tottenham player closing in on Rico, and they just took advantage of it. But that's also another takeaway I had is I wonder, and again, I don't know just because I'm noticing it a lot more recently, but I wonder how many goals have Manchester City conceded because they can't clear the ball due to Pep Guardiola's philosophy.
Ooh, I would love to see a stat on that.
Like, is it actually beneficial, or are they actually conceding a lot of goals and they mask it because they have an elite offense?
Yeah.
I wonder, man, because in that moment, clear it, bro.
Yeah.
Tottenham was clearly pressing you, and it was tight. You're in the middle of the pitch too. Do not make a central pass. Just boot it or just, you know, clear it out wide. Do whatever you have to do. But instead, he has to make a ground pass, a tight, short, distant pass just to keep the philosophy of Manchester City and ended up biting them. But I've seen him bite them more recently as of now. So again, I wonder how many times have they conceded because they're just trying to pass from the back.
That's actually a really great question. I always felt though that what they give up is so shy in comparison to what they take from the other team. Most of the times they're able to completely mask it. And I do think that at the end of the day, it still pays off and is rewarding to them. But if they are ever not as detrimental offensively as they usually are, then that will get exposed. But I just don't think we'll see that with how talented and how good these players are offensively.
Yeah.
But we will see it in one-off games like this.
Absolutely.
Right? Or like, how it happens at times with like against the Liverpool, against the big teams. You'll see it every now and then. A squad gets a really good victory over Man City, and it will be due to just a lackluster mistake in the back line. It won't actually be through the other team like beating you between the lines and finding a way to break your defense.
Yeah.
It usually comes from a big mistake like that. It is just an interesting balance between both of those. But kind of on the topic of Tottenham, that's the illusion, man. That's the illusion that I bought into before the season started and I still believe, man, I still think that Tottenham's peak, like ultimate Tottenham, what Tottenham is truly capable of when every single player is at 10 out of 10, when Harry Kane is playing his best football, when Heung-min Son is in his best form, when Emerson Royal is playing the way he was this past weekend instead of the fucking headless chicken he usually is week in, week out. I still think that Tottenham, that version of Tottenham is capable of winning the league, is capable of being the best team in England, bro. Which then translates to basically the best team in the world.
Right.
But unfortunately, because of the opposite side of how lackluster and how weak they are, how unable they are to be consistent within the league format, we see a team that just ends up being fourth. A team that ends up being in fifth place, just competing for a Champions League spot. This frustration that I've had with them the whole season, because I see performances like the one they've had against Man City. I see them do something completely nonsensical against like a Southampton.
Right.
Pisses me off, man.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I completely share that frustration now after seeing this type of performance because 100% I do agree. And I know people will probably just mock the idea, but peak Tottenham can win the league. They have the pieces. Although I do think, and I said it at the beginning of the season, I think they're missing a creative midfielder. That's it. I think that's all they're missing because they have good players out wide through Kulusevski and Heung-min Son. They have an elite striker centrally through Harry Kane, who likes to drop in deep and distribute the ball as well. And they have good pieces in transition who can help those wingers, who can help Harry Kane through Højbjerg and Rodrigo Betancourt. Where they struggle is when a team bunkers in defensively and Tottenham can't figure out how to break them. Because then at that point, the wingers no longer have space to exploit. At that point, Harry Kane has 3 defenders constantly bodying him. And then you have to rely on Højbjerg and Betancourt to be creative. And that is something that they cannot do. And so, the reason why I think Arsenal's having a lot more success is because you have players like Thomas Partey, who, yes, is a midfielder first, but can create off the pass. And then, of course, you have Martin Odegaard, who is the definition of a creative midfielder. That is something that Tottenham just do not have simply by the book. They fill that void. They fill that void, then they can beat both types of teams. Teams who bunker in and teams who bunkered Tottenham, leaving space open at the back for their wingers.
Let's play a little game here. If you knew that Tottenham's owner was watching you right now and that he would listen to whoever you recommended him to get, who would be the one player that you would tell him to go get right now that would perfectly fill that role outside of like a Martin Odegaard per se?
Yeah, first off, waste some money to get Bissouma because he's just another type of Højbjerg. Yeah. He's low-key exactly like Betancourt, but maybe just less experienced, honestly.
They got the wrong Brighton. They should have gone like McAllister.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got the wrong Brighton player, bro.
There you go. No, that's the player you need, bro. They got the wrong Brighton midfielder, dude. Oh, my God. Dude, McAllister and that Tottenham white? Shit.
God damn it. Yeah, that would be kind of a guy that fits that
absolutely
that mold.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you're gonna need a guy who is okay with being in rotation though, because I don't let's say McAllister is that creative midfielder. I don't think he'd be the type of guy that you can play every single game because even like McAllister, I think, has limitations. But the midfield right now has limitations themselves that's keeping them from going high up in the league table. So, yeah, 100%, I do think they just need a creative midfielder. As to who, though? Fuck. I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. I haven't thought about it.
Get Griezmann in there. But
if Griezmann was if Griezmann left, if Griezmann joined Tottenham 4 years ago when he left Atleti, then it would have worked. Instead of Barcelona.
God, that would never happen.
And I remember though when Griezmann was set to leave Atletico, I thought he was gonna go to the Prem, and I wanted him to, but instead he just went to fucking Barcelona. It was the worst career move, and he knows it too.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows it too. So, but,
last thing on the topic of Tottenham that I wanted to comment on. Yes, Harry Kane, 200 goals, an incredible record of an athlete doing something just remarkable within his career. This will be the first time that I speak about a different sport on the pod, because I want to take a moment here.
We have to
congratulate LeBron James for breaking the all-time scoring record in the NBA, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, and becoming the leading all-time scorer in the sport. LeBron James, congratulations. If you watch any football podcast and you watch this by any chance, congratulations, man, because that's kind of what Harry Kane is trying to achieve in the Prem.
That's like, the parallel I see.
It'd be the parallel, yeah. If he's able to actually beat Alan Shearer's 270-something goal record,
if he does it,
it'd be of the similar sentiment that basketball fans are going through, seeing LeBron actually break what was once considered an unbreakable record by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
If Harry Kane has that moment for himself, that'd be awesome to see. Really would.
Wow. Yeah, no, I legit had like a fantasy as I was seeing Tottenham just play so good against Manchester City. I had this thought, Kane needs to win a title. Harry Kane needs to win a Premier League title, man.
Prem?
Yeah. And I know it's going to be really, really difficult, man. Especially when you have the project that Arsenal's building, when you still have Manchester City, when you have a project like Newcastle building low-key in the depths, maybe trying to do something crazy in these next couple of seasons, going to be tough. And then you could throw in just a couple of other random teams, like hell, even the Chelsea with the amount of money they're spending, a team like Brighton, who shouldn't even be anywhere near the top 5, that could also just play into Tottenham just not winning a title. But Kane himself, separate from Tottenham, with Tottenham would be dope. Needs to win a title, man.
With Tottenham would be dope.
With Tottenham would be.
He's been so loyal to them to a detriment. So
and the thing is I think he's set to like just sign a new contract with them. And at first he wanted to leave and see his options out, but I think now he's just set on staying. Which honestly, I love it. Stay loyal to your team, Tottenham, and to just try to win a Premier League trophy, because that day. Speechless.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible to see Harry Kane, the best English striker since Alan Shearer, better than Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was incredible. To see him actually win a title with a team like Tottenham, who've been so ridiculed for so long, for him to actually pull it off and do it and lift up that Premier League trophy, bro, it'd be just it'd be low-key on par. Like, I know it might be seen blasphemous, on par with like Messi winning the World Cup title.
Yeah, it'd be very similar.
It'd be very
similar in terms of like career arc and what it would mean to that specific character and player. Because they've been ridiculed for centuries, man, for their inability to win. But I think Harry Kane knows that, man. Yeah. Because why else would he be so fucking loyal to Tottenham? I think part of him knows that the weight of a trophy at Tottenham would just be so overwhelming in comparison to like winning a trophy with Man City.
Wow.
Or winning multiple trophies with Man City.
Yeah.
One trophy, be it a Premier League or perhaps a Champions League, would be the ultimate satisfaction for Harry Kane, I believe, for his footballing career. To bring North London a trophy like that would cement him as a legend in football lore, I think. Because to this point still, he's very criticized for staying at Tottenham. But if he can see it out and get something out of it, then it'll be beautiful. But I think a lot about the dark side, man. The dark side that he might not do it.
Shit.
He might not do it.
He might not do it. It's such a tough task.
It's really tough.
It's really tough.
Even, Messi, 7 games, he just has to go the fuck off and do it. And he did. God bless him. But a Premier League, bro?
Yeah, I know.
In today's climate?
I know.
Might be even tougher, bro. Especially for Tottenham when it comes to like a mental aspect of not knowing how to win a championship.
Right,
man.
You're right, though. It's crazy because I haven't thought about it like that, but one Tottenham title is the equivalent of like 10 Manchester City titles. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like you said, Kane knows that. And I think that's why he's just so committed to the project, because if he pulls it off, it'll be the greatest accolade any British player has ever achieved.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be up there, certainly. Since we're on Man City, let's talk about these sanctions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Let's talk about these sanctions.
Let's talk about it, man.
4-year investigation by the Premier League in which they suspect Manchester City of breaking financial fair play rules over 100 times.
100 breaches, dude.
100 breaches, my friend.
100.
Manchester City is unable to appeal any sanctions because of the unprecedented number of charges, and the punishment is cloudy because we just saw Juventus be deducted 15 points for their foul play. But Man City, the charges that they have against them is even more than what Juventus got charged against. This could end up in titles being taken away from them. This could end up in potentially them being dropped out of the first division, the Premier League itself, and being sent to perhaps the second division. This could end up with fines, detrimental fines to the club. It's still not truly known what the punishment could be, but there's a lot of different ways this could go. And I'm still just questionable of how serious this actually is. Is this real, bro?
Right.
Like, is it real?
One thing that really triggered me was the pettiness of 100 breaches. That means that council or whoever charged them counted them. That means they counted over 100 times and then put it in a document and left it on Manchester City's doorstep.
Yeah.
It's so aggressive.
The person was fed up, man.
Right, they were like, they're like waiting, like CoffeeZilla type shit, man. They were waiting to send this document out, and so that part just kind of threw me off because, like, why not do it when they've breached 5 of the rules? Like, why has it taken so long to where it's just overflowing the amount of breaches? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that throws me off, and then the other thing that throws me off is just the fact that this just happened to Juve, right? It's almost like there's like a secret entity now just going around Europe and seeing who they can just bring down. And the thing is, I'm okay with that because my ultimate criticism is football needs regulation. This is going to come back to the same point I made with Juventus, and I'm going to say it one more time in a more shortened version here. Football needs regulation because at the end of the day, when you have rules set in place, the moment you break one little rule, you'll get punished for it. That way you can't break it 100 times. And then everything just couples and everything doubles and exponentiates to a degree of 100 breaches. I don't want that for the football world. And it kind of makes sense that Manchester City's in a hole this deep anyway, because, I mean, look at their roster, man. 20 of their players are essentially all-time starters, and they could start in any team right now in the world right now. So I just don't even know what to think about it at the end of the day, because it's just like, this is what Manchester City have done. Haven't they had breaches before, like back in 2014, 2015? So it's just a cycle being repeated because there are no rules. There are no true regulations. So I'm just beating a dead horse at this point, man. Punish them, though. At the end of the day, if they are guilty, I want to see Manchester City truly punished.
That's my thing. That's why I asked the question, is this real? Is this serious? Like, is it something that is actually fathomable? Because they've been charged for shit basically every year since like 2013, man. But somehow they find a way to evade it. Somehow they find a way to just make it go behind the scenes and not be a talking point. And for the first time, I feel that we're starting to see like this agent of investigation happening where Juve actually got deducted 15 points, bro.
Right.
They actually got punished. Something real happened.
Yes.
And now in line with that, with both the timing of it and the climate we're in, Manchester City falls into this deep hole with over 100 breaches. And I'm just saying, if we're going based off of what happened to Juve, then something even worse is going to happen to Manchester City. Yeah. Something bad, bro.
Yeah.
I think if this is real, if this is actually something that is going to be followed through with and we're going to see come to fruition, I think they're going to lose titles.
Whoa.
I think that's what this results in, man.
Yeah.
Them actually losing titles. Maybe a couple, bro. Like, losing the Premier League title would be the ultimate punishment for a team that has been so successful this past decade, bro.
Yeah.
And it'd be the ultimate punishment, I think, just to take away the ultimate sign of glory and accomplishment from a team after they thought they had it.
Yeah.
And just have it just spray painted with X's and showing us like just a disease, like it was something wrong, like it was something wrong. Flawed.
Yeah.
It was cheated. It was negative. It was unfair.
Yeah.
I think would be so disheartening to so many fans of Manchester City and to the club itself, to where maybe then they learn a little bit of a lesson.
No, honestly, man, but dude, even a big slap in the face would just be like a 5-point deduction, because they're right there in the title race right now with Arsenal. 5 points off the kilt right now puts Arsenal in a really, really good position to win the league. So even something as little as that would destroy Manchester City's season this year. But yeah, anything more, which definitely could happen if it truly is real, as you're saying, yeah, it would just be icing on the cake of this shittery.
Yeah, and just somewhere out there, Mourinho celebrating a title right now or some shit. And he just like we got a couple coaches out there that are just hoping that if this shit goes through, I'm gonna have a Premier League under my fucking belt.
Right. Like posthumously or whatever. Yeah. Klopp could use a little up right now.
He could use a little bit, man. He could use a little bit.